With Respawn releasing the Tales of the Outlands Northstar, as well as the new tease for the Arena mode that's going to come in Season 9, we all have things to look for the next season for Apex. What's up everybody, it's your boy Nitrix here, and today I'm going to talk to you guys about the new legend, Valkyrie, and the upcoming mode, Arena. Now before I get into any of that, I'd like you guys to please like, comment, subscribe. It helps the channel out, and you can be able to talk to somebody that has a similar mindset. Great minds think alike. Always have that saying, because sometimes there'll be that one person to say the same thing, and you can relate with them and be able to chat with them. Anyways, let's get into the video. Since we're in the third year of Apex, the next legend of course is going to be Valkyrie, being that her abilities remind us of Northstar, which is blatantly obvious of what we're going to see as her kit itself. But of course, I love the fact how the lore connects the dots between Viper and Valkyrie when it comes to Titanfall 2, one of the antagonists that you encounter in the story. But let's not get off task here. We came here to kind of talk and see about the new things that's coming into Season 9. So, from what I can say, Valkyrie is obviously going to have something to do with flight, being that she's a legend who has the ability to fly around and shoot missiles at people. But let's just pretend that you don't know all this and you kind of want to see exactly what her build looks like, so that way when you jump in you'll know exactly what she's able to do from the get-go. So alright, her first ability happens to be called Veto Jets, where basically when you're jumping, she has the ability to hold her jump button and hover in the air and basically hold her position in the air and move around, unlike Horizon, who has to stay in one position the entire time when she's hovering. And her second ability, which is going to be her tactical, called the Cluster Missile, which is very different than the Knuckle Cluster. The Knuckle Cluster, you only can shoot once and it hits the ground at a certain spot, and if the enemy is still there within the time that it goes off, it takes a certain amount of damage and they have the stun effect going on with them. And then the third and final ability is called Skyward. So I'm just going to simplify what Skyward does. Basically, she's a walking shooting jump pad or launch pad, where basically she is able to reposition her team into another spot, or just herself if she likes. Now, forgive me if I weave out for a second, but I was honestly kind of hoping for, the Northstar ability, where it turns into a JoJo reference, where literally you're hovering in the air and all of a sudden you're shooting a barrage of missiles and you're like, that type of deal. I was kind of hoping something like that, but her ability is not bad. I know it's good for repositioning, but the big difference is to how it works is basically she is able to group up her teammates and she can fly away, almost like if you're going to the jump tower or to a geyser if you're on World's Edge. And the only downside is probably going to be the jump time. I don't know how a jump time would work or how it would be utilized. Now, however, her kit definitely suits her. Now, before I stop talking about Valkyrie, I want to kind of quick mention her legendary skins, which we don't have visual confirmation of what they could look like or what they could represent, but I do have a general idea of what it could be. However, I'm not allowed to show you the images because certain individuals got really ruffled because people are trying to go around talking and be able to educate and inform those of what's going on in the game. So instead, I decided to write them down to be able to tell you and explain to you what the skins' names could possibly be if Respawn hasn't changed them. So the skins are Aerial Support, Choke Uplift, Valhalla Descent, and Warrior's Justice. Now, even though we don't know what they look like in particular, because we keep in mind, Valkyrie hasn't even been released yet. So we don't really have a particular idea as to what the other outfits or skins would look like for her. However, we can at least imagine or paint an idea of what each one could be. For aerial support, I can just imagine, a regular flight suit, a suit and jacket with a helmet, kind of like standardized military going into space. But that's what I can assume, except it's going to be Titanfall formed. So imagine a pilot outfit for her, since she wants to be like her father. And in a way, it's kind of, symbolic in its own way that she wanted to represent what her father was. The other skin for Valkyrie Descent, it would kind of look like a Viking skin, and it looks something like this. Something similar into that type of theme, being like Norse mythology. As for Warrior's Justice in particular, it might be a samurai related skin, as to be the opposite of Valkyrie Descent. And please do not say I am racist because I say some type of Japanese skin, like a samurai or some type of kata. And since Choke Uplift is basically going to be a opposite color of aerial support, you can basically assume that it's just a different skin with different colors. So I'm just going to quickly gloss over the updates for the weapons. So there is some good news and some bad news. Good news is the Peacekeeper is finally coming home as a ground weapon. We can find it on the ground anywhere. Bad news, the triple take has to take its place. I mean, I love that sniper, it's my favorite. On the next note, the Vortex Bow, along with some other weapons, are going to form a new weapons section known as the Marksman class, which includes the G7 Scout, the 3030 Repeater, and of course the Vortex Bow. So that's all I can say about the weapons for now at this point. Which brings us to the final thing I would like to go over. The new Arenas mode. Now, first off, what I would like to mention is how we got the leaks wrong. Now, when it came to the first teaser, which the very first teaser was the 100 million players downloading and playing Apex Legends as we speak. Now, when it came to that, it was not a debut towards the Battle Royale portion. The debut for that was towards Arenas. And it took me a moment to realize, because we saw these giant little cylinders saying Oasis. Oasis is the name of the location on Olympus. However, that would also indicate that it's now an arena map, which is pretty cool. And that goes the same for World's Edge, which I'm not going to say it's not going to become a map change or a map switch for this season. I'm not too certain. It might still be King's Canyon in Olympus, or it might be Olympus and World's Edge. Whichever the case, we are not getting an updated version of World's Edge. That's one thing I can say for certain. Being that the video itself was just showing and debuting and showcasing the map, the new map for Arena itself. Now in this clip right here, you think that this is her ultimate that she's using while she's hovering and shooting. That's actually her passive and her tactical that she's using at the same time. Which, as of right here, this is where her tactical is like. It's not going to be exactly like that, but that's only when she's in the air that she can do something like that. And right here, that is her ultimate. Not her just using the jump jets. That is literally her ultimate, where she's in a position and she's getting ready to jump, which I think puts her on a vulnerable state, which she can't really jump willy-nilly, just any ordinary way. It gives her a moment where she's just sitting there in the open. Now, to the other thing that a lot of people also thought was being revealed, when you keep saying that World's Edge is getting an update, it's not getting an update. Instead, we're getting new arena locations, which is why at the beginning we seen World's Edge. That whole area that Valkyrie was flying to was actually an area set for arenas itself. So outside of that, there are 3 maps in total that were shown in this arena's trailer. Now, I'm gonna tell you in the exact order so that way you'll be able to understand what is what. In the beginning, that was World's Edge, and then after that, it's King's Canyon's location, or POI, that's known as Artillery, that's being shown. Then after that, you have Olympus, and the location that they're showing is Oasis, but that's just the arena version of Oasis that's being shown. And with that being said, there are plenty more locations being added into Apex's new mode. Now, the information that I had on King's Can's locations was given to us by Kidjana Plays. I'm not too certain, or I can't even remember because I don't particularly have the names of the location to like a current memory. But what I do remember is most of those locations that were said were on King's Can. And I'm pretty sure they're going to do the same thing onto the other maps themselves. But that being said, the final thing I want to talk about is how the mode might actually perform. And basically what I'm asking is, how will the mode be played exactly? Well, I originally had about 2 theories, and then it came up to 3, and I deduced them down to 1 theory. Now, theory 1 was originally going to be a round-based game mode, where once you kill a whole team, the whole game basically ends off on 1 round, and then you go around until the next match, and then you do the same thing until you get the set score amount to win. The second theory is a score limit game mode, where you have to get as many kills as possible against the other team. The team with the most kills wins. And the final one is elimination based, which basically you'll have a certain amount of lives, and the team that's last standing wins. Which finally I have come to the conclusion of what my theory is going to be. And the theory is score based, where simply how it's going to work is both teams will spawn in from dropships, and they'll jump down from opposite sides, where they can't see each other right away, but they can at least know where the enemies are going to be from the start. The other thing I want to talk about is simply the movement, where, as you can see here, Octane parkours briefly. Now, it makes me question, is wall jumps going to be a thing? I know some people state that you can do wall jumps into Apex, however, you can only do them at a slight tilt. But what if wall jumps are only eligible enough to be done in arenas, which will make some type of advanced movement coming into the game, in which case it will give us some type of movement and therefore some fast-paced gameplay, despite the fact that we're being limited into a short space. Now, that sounds an invigorating idea as it comes together. Another thing that I kind of want to mention is how the weapons will come to be. Are we going to have create a class, or is it going to be like Winter Express, where a certain legend only has a certain loadout? Or is it going to be that we spawn to the map and we have to get our weapons ourselves? Now, the one thing I do know for sure, there is going to be care package weapons onto the map, in which there are going to be the power weapons. Thus, getting them will give you the power of that weapon within that moment in time of the game. And another thing I would like to mention is the knock system. Now, originally I thought that was only going to be a battle royale thing and you instantly kill your enemies. However, in this mode, once you shoot them down, they don't die. They get knocked instead, just like in the battle royale. The only major difference is the players have a choice to either kill themselves and come back into the map like a respawn, just like in Second Chance, except you have infinite chances. Or stay down, provide fire cover, and wait till your teammates get you, so that way the kill that they got doesn't count as a kill. It just counts as a knock. Which in this case is a nice little device it sets up, where it convinces you to play with your teammates tactically, where there is a consequence for letting your enemies get the kill. Now, with that being said, there's one last thing I would like to say. For my very final point, the guns might have to be legendary. Now, the reason for this claim is because the weapons themselves, depending on which rarity it is, can determine how much ammo you hold, or how fast you reload, how good is your aim, how fast you can quickly aim down sights, how fast can you switch weapons. That type of business could very well affect the game, unless if it doesn't affect the game at all, where the guns play at the maximum efficiency. In other words, if they have legendaries, no one can say that it's because they're gonna have more ammo, or this have more attachments, or that type of BS. Now, with that in mind, those were my pure thoughts for Arena, and hopefully you guys liked the video and get a general idea of how Valkyrie and Arenas might work. But that's going to be it for me today. I've talked a lot, so thank you for joining me. And don't forget to check out Arena's gameplay on April 26th. And with that, take care of yourselves and peace.